Good afternoon, everyone. I am Professor Rahul, MAILCONTRACTOR from KLS Institute of Management, Education and Research. Today, I will be talking to you about the use of digital resources in finance. But as a subtopic, I would like to talk on digital transformation that we are going to expect in finance in the coming years or in coming days. So, with this, I would like to start with my presentation. Now, what is digital transformation in finance? None of us know for certain what the future will hold, but we all have a responsibility to be thinking about what's likely to happen and to prepare for it. In finance function, it means working now to get the right people and technology in place and take advantage of the inevitable disruption that is ahead. So, as we are going to go along, we are going to face in the finance industry as well as generally huge technological disruptions, and we have to be well prepared for these changes. And finance as a function also needs to gear up for these changes. So, hence, the digital transformation that we are going to expect in finance, we have to be prepared for that. Now, that's not likely to happen without a clear vision and strategy for finance in a digital world. Now is the time to step back and make sure your roadmap for the future is set. So, organization to ensure that they are ready for this transformation have to be geared up and have to have the right set of processes, the right set of people, the right kind of technology to enter into this digital transformation era in finance. So, the new automation and blockchain are going to be the new key mantras in the coming future. So years ahead, cloud-based ERPs, automation and cognitive innovation will continue apace, creating opportunities to radically simplify processes and free up people. So with the advent of this new technology and automation, lot of processes that are going to be repetitive in nature have to be freed, or they will be replaced by automation and technologies like blockchain. Now, adding blockchain to the mix will only accelerate this trend. As this transition picks up speed, the capacity of human to add value will be unleashed. Now, with automation and blockchain, that does it mean that all the people are going to be replaced? No. The only thing is that we have to acquire new skills and be geared to be prepared for adoption of these new technologies like blockchain and other ERP based or cloud based ERPs. And accordingly, we have to train our people in order to gear up for this digital transformation. Now, some find it interesting to speculate about finance disappearing under the crush of digital disruption, but we don't see that happening. Yes, finance will likely be leaner, but that will mostly be a function of head count in operational finance, that is order to cash, procure to pay, then transactional accounting, etc. So as you all can see, the processes that will become obsolete are mostly the repetitive processes, and that will be replaced by automation. But highly skilled work or tasks will definitely need an upgradation for of the people and preparation of the workforce for the future with these upgraded skills, right? Meanwhile, expectations for support from business finance, business partnering, reporting, planning, budgeting, forecasting, etc., and other specialized financial services like tax, treasury, IR will continue to grow. So, specialized services in the future will definitely continue to grow, and accordingly, those processes will or the new processes will be incorporated in this regular or traditional financial functions. So, as I said earlier, we have to be geared up and prepare for this new huge transformation that we are going to see ahead in the future. Now, what is the role of finance here? Whether finance continues to direct the resources currently under its control will depend on its ability to add value. That will require quality insights and exceptional customer service. Some finance organizations will evolve into full-fledged business service centers. So, outsourcing and of the finance operations because of automation and other technologies that are going to be coming up will definitely happen, and companies will look to outsource their finance function or maybe modernize it through the adoption of new technology and other new technologies like blockchain and other automation techniques. So the companies will have to be prepared. As I told you earlier, that the traditional finance functions will definitely be present, but the ability of technology to add value to those functions will definitely be enhanced with the coming years, with the coming of the new age technologies. Companies know that sharing knowledge across discipline is a good thing, even if it creates headaches. Okay, learn what it takes to make the most of blurring boundaries. So we have to be adaptive. Companies and organizations have to adapt to the changes that we are going to see in the future. So the role of finance will become much more flexible. It is going to, the traditional finance functions will remain, but just that the introduction of new digital technology and digital transformation like automation and blockchain technologies will be included in this traditional finance role. Now, what are the financial cycles and real-time data? Now, with both actual and forecast can be produced instantly on demand, traditional cycles becomes less relevant. The old distinction between operational and analytical data begins to disappear. So currently the traditional way of functioning is we look for forecasting the data, look for assimilating that forecast into your operations as well as budgeting for those things. But with the new technology, we'll find that we'll be using more real-time data, and hence the what you can say distinction between the operational and the analytical data begins to disappear. So with the new technologies like data analytics and machine learning and the new techniques that are going to come up, we'll see that we'll be working more and more with real-time data. Finance organizations will still need to meet external demands of cyclical information, but outside investors may also want more frequent performance information. So that means we have to be willing to share more and more data, which currently happens on a periodic basis. Because of real-time investments and other aspects, the shareholders, or for that matter our investors, would also need to have more real-time data, and hence an organization should be geared up for this. Leading organizations will be operating with new mantra. There is no there is no choice basically. You are not forecasting once a month or quarterly, it's all happening in real time. So as I told you earlier that the forecasting which happens periodically or we use periodic data will in future will be much more real time based, and hence the decision making in various financial operations will be more optimal, or maybe the operational function will be much more enhanced because of the use of real-time data, which will lead financial managers or decision makers to make or take more prompt decisions and based on real-time data. Many finance cycles today are driven by technology and data processing limitations. Things happen on a regular schedule because that's the only way they can happen. When information becomes instantly available to those who need it, traditional cycle becomes unnecessary, and that frees up people to focus on discovering new insights and acting on them. So most of our energies which are currently focused on forecasting and understanding the data and the patterns in data, with the advent of data analytics, machine learning and new technologies, as we will be working with more and more data, we will be freeing up some of those traditional spaces and working more on analytical insights and taking much more decisions which are geared up in line with the transforming digital scenario that we are going to be facing. Now, what are the operating models based on this? Companies will assess the benefits of automation against onshore and offshore operations. Automation provides a new lever for managing costs, one that gives finance organizations the opportunity to re-evaluate how they are organized, where work gets done, and what kind of processes no longer require human intervention. So with more and more automation coming in, we will find that repetitive jobs which require human intervention or which are let's say based on less insights will automatically be automized, and that is why the organizations will have a way in which they can identify which processes require human intervention and which processes can be automized. This will lead to definitely an increased efficiency in terms of the kind of operating models that we are currently working with in the domains of finance as well as overall operations of the business. Finance as a e-service will gain traction beyond mid-market companies. So as I mentioned earlier that financial services will be again the access of these financial services will be, the scope of this will broaden, and even other small size or mid-size companies can access these financial services. This has a huge scope for traditional or for that matter domains of finance like merchant banking and finance services, which can experience a huge growth in this area. Companies may see a significant disruption in offshoring and outsourcing spaces, with individual suppliers and their capabilities looking quite different than they do today. So again, as I told you all, many of the finance functions can be outsourced, and definitely we can leverage the use of this by accessing the what you can say digital transformation that we are going to see in the future. So by outsourcing our financial sources, we can definitely leverage that and use it for optimizing our operations. At the same time, the need for to build dynamic cross-functional teams will strain financial organizations that aren't preparing now for what's ahead. And as we all change, good leaders will be essential for navigating this transitions. So for gearing up for these changes that we are going to see in the future, we need the leadership to have that vision and prepare the organization right from now to gear up, or for that matter to prepare their organizations for this digital transformation that we are going to see in the finance functions. And hence we should ensure that organizations are training their workforces accordingly and creating such operating models or creating these environments to learn in the future. Enterprise resource planning. Now, ERP vendors are already building digital technologies like automation, blockchain, and cognitive tools into their products, but that won't forestall competition. That is, as we can see, as the business processes have been included or digitized more and more, we experience the what you can say enterprise resource planning system. Now again, this resource planning system with the incorporation of new real-time data will become more and more automated, and with the use of blockchain and other cognitive tools, the ERPs will be much more efficient. Look for the landscape to shift as new players enter the ERP space with specialized applications and microservices that sit on top of and integrate with ERP platforms. So we can see for other specialized services, microservices to add on to the existing ERP space. Cloud-based ERP will help ensure that you are constantly updated and updated on the latest release. So as it becomes more and more real time and we use cloud-based services, definitely the finance function and the ERP resource system will become much more efficient. Finance is entering a golden age of technology. As cloud becomes the norm of ERP, finance application and microservices will proliferate. You will be able to drastically reduce the complexity and cost of technology without sacrificing the functionality. So the functionality will remain the same, but the use of these new technologies will definitely drastically reduce the complexity and the cost of technology. So as we adopt more and more these new technologies, definitely the what you can say the complexity of the processes will definitely reduce, and our ERP systems will be geared up to becoming more and more efficient. Data standardization. Now, obviously, with the advent of data science and data technology, machine learning, and real-time data, we need the data to be much more standardized. Currently, the way the data has been organized, we need to have standardized formats and standardization so that the companies can use it as well as the systems can use this data. So, few companies are doing the hard work needed to align and integrate data, which means that they won't capture the full value of the data transformation. So, in order to capture the full value of the data transformation, we need to standardize our data. Those hoping for silver bullet to solve their data problem will be disappointed. Automation and cognition will make it easier to get the work done, but it's still going to be hard and tedious. So unless you are geared up towards standardizing your data, it will become very tedious for you to adjust to the changes. What are we talking about? commas, abbreviation, data entry fields, nomenclatures, and hundreds of similar factors. It's not glamorous and it's not glitzy, but it's important. So in order to standardize the data, the templates, the data that is going to be used, and the various syntaxes that are going to be used with our data have to be more and more standardized. And that is why our digital resources that we are going to use all need to be standardized, so that we can access the standardized data across all platforms and across all processes. Data problems hide beneath the surface for many CFOs, some of whom don't fully appreciate the heavy lifting required to fulfill their request. That's partly because the problems involve technical issues, and partly because there is little motivation for people to alleviate the problems to the corner office. No one wants to be the bearer of bad tidings. So data standardization in the coming future is going to be the requirement of the future. Workforce and workplace. Obviously, with the changes in all these digital transformation and digital technologies, we need to gear up ourselves to prepare, or for that matter, we need to train our workforce, as well as the workplace should reflect the coming digital transformation that we are going to see here. So finance talent models are evolving quickly, with the premium placed on data scientists, business analysts, and storytellers. So with the advent of these new transformations, we will see that the use of data science being more and more in the field of any process. Finance is not an exception, but data scientists will find a lot of roles, business analysts and storytellers. So all of us, we need to prepare our workforce apart from the traditional role of finance that we teach, or for that matter we learn. We also need to incorporate the use of data science, okay, and give out the specialized roles like business analyst, etc., and start teaching them in our courses, so that we are able to mold our coming workforce in order or in line with the digital transformation that we are going to see here. In line with this, we need to actually revise or reschedule our syllabi across various institutions, so that we acknowledge this transformation that is going to come in, and accordingly we also direct our coming workforce to the right sources of data from where we can get all this. So the resources also are very important here. You should access all the key resources and you should be able to access these resources from the right places. So the sources of your information are going to be very, very critical in the coming future. This represents a dramatic shift for many finance organizations. To get ready, make sure your new hires represents the future you are striving for. So again, organizations will also keep this in mind while hiring their workforce. So us as institutions, we need to be geared up to train our students accordingly, because the organizations will change, and with the changing needs of the organizations, the demand from the workforce, and hence the students that they will require, or for that matter the workforce that they will require, will also have to be in line with the changing transformation that is going to happen. Important qualities include a strong customer service orientation, flexibility, and good collaboration skills, in addition to technical capabilities needed for specific job. So along with the specializations that will come in, okay, there should be collaborative teams that are going to be working, adequate customer services need to be provided. All of your people should be able to contribute to the elevating the value of the finance in terms of communication, impact and influence. Make every new hire count. So obviously with all these things incorporated into our hiring process, as well as organizations will be looking ahead to hire people who are up to date with all these necessary skills, and accordingly we as institutes need to mold ourselves in order to change for the digital transformation that is coming ahead. Implementing new technologies is relatively easy compared to changing your talent model. So right from now we need to gear up ourselves in training the coming workforce. If we are not geared up towards training the coming workforce, we will find that the skills that they are taking away from the institutes are completely redundant, and they are not going to be applicable in the industry scenario, and industry will have to spend more in order to train this workforce that is the students which were going out of the campus, and hence that is why we need to be using the right kind of resources in order to train our generations which are coming up and gear them up for the changes in the technology that are going to come there. There is obviously connected, there everything is connected, but cultural and organization shifts related to your workforce may take much more time and care to get right. So we have to, as I told you, be geared up for all these changes that we are going to see there. So here there are some online resources. Of course, there is a finance in classroom link. Unfortunately, I'm not able to access it from this my place. So I would again end this session by saying that the resources that we are going to use, the new digital age, we are inside of the new digital age that is upon us. Accordingly, we are supposed to utilize these various resources that are available online, look at the right sources, right models, and obviously we need to gear up our businesses as well as our workforces in line with the new digital transformation that we are expecting in the future. So with this, I would like to end my webinar of use of digital resources in order to digitally transform your business organization. Hope this session was beneficial for you all. Thank you so much. Good day.